Stock market game. Our responsibility was to find a successful stock market company that would increase our income and make us rich. We have researched and purchased the following: TD Bank, Coca-Cola, and Dell. Our strategy in this project. The investment strategy that our team followed was a very safe and selective strategy. The stocks we invested in were the very few with all green and high chances of us gaining a good amount of money in return. None of us are very knowledgeable in the stocks because it was our first time, so we chose what was appealing. A way we followed this safe strategy was investing little of the money given to us.
What influenced our transactions? TD Bank. We chose TD Bank's company stock because it is a financial institution that can benefit us. Since bank institutions have difficulty losing people's trust based on stock graphs, and there's a possibility that we could gain a large sum of money. Another reason why we invest in TD Bank is the fact people make investments in banks and request loans. There will be very few flaws in its shares, and they only appear in recent times. They had extremely significant demographics within the last 5 years, which intrigued us to invest $4,147.5 of our $100,000. The graph shows the stocks of TD Bank 6 months ago when we started the stock market game. The stocks were pretty high in mid-January, but had gone through several ups and downs through the 6 months. When we first started the stock market game, it was $81.14 per share. We invested 50 shares at the end of the stock market game. The stock price was $71.13, meaning that the stock was lowered by $10.01 within the given time period.
What influenced our transactions? Coca-Cola. We chose to invest in Coca-Cola stocks because it was a sustainable and reliable stock that could benefit us in gaining a large sum of money. In addition, we invested into Coca-Cola because Coca-Cola has increased its payout for 60 years, one of the longest streaks of any public company. They had extremely significant democrats in the last 5 years, which gave us an even greater role of influence towards our choice. This image on the left is showing Coca-Cola's graph 6 months from now. In the month of January, the Coca-Cola stock had $9.30 in shares. In April, the Coca-Cola company had increased their stock market shares by $4.51. Their stock, April 11, 2022, was $63.81. In the last 2 weeks, Coca-Cola stock had increased to the final numbers of $65.03 to $66. We selected Dell Technology as it's both accessible and moderately lasting for education. While contemplating just what to invest in, we considered elements that are necessary by the majority of people. We thought of knowledge. Dell's stocks were functioning well from the beginning of the year 2022. Dell Technology has encouraging signs of improvement. At the beginning of the year, about 6 months ago, Dell's stock share number was about $59.88. 3 months after January 10th, 2022, Dell's stock was at the number dropped by $12.93. The number at this time being $46.95. In the past 2 weeks, the number of shares have been ranging from $47.50 to $48.81.
The ongoing war with Russia and Ukraine has caused conflict which continues to cause changes on global financial markets. Slowdown of Russian energy exports can be for a conflict and temporary price increases in global energy and food. People that might have invested in Russia or Ukrainian companies have probably lost large amounts of money. Gas, the possibility of gas prices increasing has stock investors worried that prices would continue to rise uncontrollably. High inflation. The amount of money an investor may invest in the stock market became limited. COVID-19 made some needs more necessary than others, such as buying laptops for online stuff.
How did these major events affect what we chose in the companies throughout time? TD Bank. When COVID-19 hit, it hit every economy in the world. It slowed down every business, including TD Bank. In TD Bank stocks, on March 20th, 2020, the stock had reached its lowest point compared to the last 5 years. In March 2020 is when COVID-19 quarantine lockdowns were announced in the USA. Inflation caused consumers and companies to need more money to buy products due to higher prices. So pushed the bank non-interest cost relative to revenue, cutting into profits. The Ukraine and Russia war threatened the US economy by worsening the supply and demand tensions.
If I can give you one presentation, if I can give you one suggestion, guys, everything you're reading is on the board. If you read it from the board, you have a little more interaction.
When COVID-19 hit, it affected every economy in both positive and negative ways. In Coca-Cola stocks on March 20th, 2020, the stock had risen compared to prior months. The reason being is that there was great stress during the pandemic, and there was an increase of junk food being consumed. Inflation caused Coca-Cola stocks to go up due to it making it harder to make healthy food choices. The Ukraine and Russia war threatened the U.S. economy by worsening the supply and demand tensions. Coca-Cola has suspended all business operations in Russia, and due to that, stocks went down. On March 20th, 2020, the Dow stocks was the lowest it's been in 5 years. This was due to COVID-19. Yet, from there on, their stocks have been rising and being better than before. This is because the people now, with online jobs and education, they had to buy computers in order to fulfill their daily jobs. So for Dell, COVID-19 enhanced their economic values and stocks. Inflation caused Dell products to be more expensive because of how high regular needs and wants were rising. Inflation raised the price in the whole economy, making more people find Dell products less of a priority, so they would have lost money due to inflation. Dell has been affected by the Russian and Ukrainian war. Their products have been harder to make because of the factories of production being hired.
As you can see in the graph, in week 1 we started our stocks with a total equity of 100,000. In the other one, in week 2, we had a net equity gain of $6.25. In week 3, we had a net equity gain of $14.58. And in week 4, there has been a net equity gain of $14.59. We had a $35.42 at this time. The net equity gain we had at this time was $50.01. We had gained $14.59 from the prior week. In week 6, we had a net equity gain of $229.59. We had gained $179.58 from the previous week.
In week 7, we had lost 144 cents. Our net equity gain was $126.15. We lost $457.29, and our net equity gain or loss was at negative $331.29. week 9, we lost $172.09. Our net equity was at negative $504.19. In week 10, we lost another $273.89, and our net equity gain was negative $778.08.
In week 11, we had gained $251.11, and our gain net equity gain was at negative $526.97. In week 12, we gained $188.61, and the net equity gain was a total of negative $338.36. In week 13, we lost $160.39, and we had a net equity gain of negative $498.75. In week 14, we lost $157.89, and the net equity gain was a total of negative $656.64. In week 15, we lost $51.38, and the net equity gain was at the final number of negative $708.02.
Reactions to our finalized portfolio. In conclusion, as a group, we invested our time and money, and unexpectedly, we lost a lot of our money. We lost $708.02 and didn't gain much from that we have invested in. In the process of the stock market game, we gained and lost money weekly. We left off with $89,986.98 and wish we did better. Our goal for next time is to invest into more stocks and into more shares into Dell. We were shocked the number had been so large. This is the graph of all the weeks. And yeah, we peaked on week 6, and our worst week was week 10, and it kind of shut us down for the whole entire game.
I learned more about how and why people invest in certain companies in the stock market game, as well as how investing in specific stocks might benefit your income. The stock market game has inspired me to begin putting more money aside. I've also learned how to invest and where to put my money thanks to the stock market game. According to my knowledge, the stock market game is an online game that assists students in achieving financial independence. I discovered that no stock is good forever when playing the stock market game.
The stock market game was a great experience in getting to know how stocks work. I learned how to make choices and how to invest in stocks. It's important to be very attentive about money and to be knowledgeable on how to maintain your stocks. I have also come across that you can gain a great quantity of money, but at high risk in losing your money if you're not careful.
In conclusion, I've learned how to pick and choose stocks based on their news articles, their stock rates, and the economic circumstances that are going on in the world. In the stock market game, it also has taught me to research stocks more deeply than just looking at its demographics and buying that stock. Doing that can make you lose more money than you have gained. Lastly, it has taught me to not be so loose with my money. Money adds up, so buying too much of something can leave your pockets empty.
If you go to the 3 dots where it says more, and hit pause, don't stop. All right, at the top. All right, we have the stock market game. We have Shadi, Noah, and Yahya in their presentation. Let me get my timer. You guys may begin when you are ready.
Our first stock was Amazon, and we bought 20 shares in total. We tried to invest on 3 occasions. One occasion they denied. I don't know why, but I guess it was too early in the game. We bought it and waited for it to jump up because we thought since it was a big company, it would skyrocket quickly. It's Amazon, but it didn't. It kind of stayed flat, and due to the war, it went down a bit. Our strategy was to make it quickly and buy and kind of sell fast, and we didn't want to wait long term because we didn't want to wait too long since the game ended early. Its growth wasn't anything like interesting or anything surprising. It was flat. It went down and went up. It was kind of stable. And after the game closed, it plummeted a lot by around like $1,000.
Do me a favor, you go to where it says the more. No, on
Oh.
yeah, and go down where it says high, low, up, down, one right there.
This is a graph. This is exact statistics of when we tried buying it or when we bought it and sold it, and how it plummeted. There are reasons to the war and the pandemic that made it plummet as it did, and many people lost their money. But we sold and bought at times where it was much higher, so we didn't lose as much. Facebook. Facebook is a share that we thought would be surprising and would make a lot of money since it's a very famous and big company. And since it was so low, we thought it would skyrocket very high, but it didn't. It just kept going lower and lower. And especially during the times we bought it, the Meta launched, so we were expecting that it would go higher. But their plan to work on just like virtual headsets and virtual reality and stuff made people get out or sell, so the price went down, and it disappointed us, and it was just a fail.
Well, we invested at like 40 shares of Apple. The group invested in Apple on 2 different occasions, buying 10 shares first and 30 shares in the second. We bought the first 10 shares on February 4th at $171.90. And we bought another 30 shares the same day on February 4th at $171.35. As a group, we thought that Apple would go up due to its steady rise in the few days before we bought. From February 4th to March 4th, Apple dropped down $9.22. From March 4th to April 4th, Apple went up a whopping $15.27. The highest the stock has been was on April 4th at $178.44. These are the graphs for Apple from February 4th to March 4th.
Again, just a suggestion, everything we're looking at, you're looking at, so it'd be better to use a smart board than a computer. Have a little more connection to draw.
These graphs basically just show the steady growth from each month to month, from February 4th to March 4th and to April 4th. Due to the pandemic, Apple has struggled because of shortages. Supply chain issues have brought them to a loss in production and sales, resulting in their stock going in several different ways, but overall staying lower than it used to be. AMD, we invested 35 shares in AMD on 2 different occasions, buying 15 shares and 20 shares. We bought AMD because in late January, the stock had been at an all-time low for the year at $102.60 in hopes of it going back after this massive drop. First occasion, we bought 25 shares on February 4th at $123.60. Second occasion, we bought another 10 shares on February 7th at $123.67. On February 8th, we sold 10 shares because AMD went up 3.49%, and we were right and made money from the stock. This is a graph of AMD from February 4th to May 4th. And AMD went down 19.56% compared to the 24.18% from the 3 months before the game. We bought AMD for the hopes of it to rise, which it did, but then it fell recently. The stock acted differently than expected, resulting in us losing money in them.
We invested in EA, GS, Microsoft, and Disney. These are like small stocks, even though like the big companies, their price per share was pretty low. We hoped to buy them so they could increase. Our strategy was to spend a little more and hope for a big outcome since these companies were widely known to the public. All these stocks dropped in price, and we in turn lost money since we didn't pull out and sell. These companies were already on a steady decline, but we hoped for an increase, but it wasn't a surprise to us when it declined. Tesla. We invested Tesla on 4 occasions. We bought 10 the first time, 10 the second time, 20 the third time, and 10 the fourth time. The first time we bought it was on February 4th at $889. Later the same day, we bought 10 more stocks at $928. In one day, it gained about like $30. So we had high hopes for the incline. We then sold all of our shares for around $927 to $929, gaining $374. During the month of January, we monitored the stock and it viewed its great decline, resulting in a purchase of 20 stocks at $921. Our final decision was to purchase 10 stocks at $844 per share. February to hope to even out losses, believing that it was a small decrease in price and it would increase soon. As you can see in the graph, on April 4th, it went high at $1,145 per share, making it being around 10K. As you can see in the graph right here. CEO Elon Musk announced that he will buy Twitter stock to attempt control of the company and proceeded with it on April 25th. The day before, this Tesla stock dropped 12%, resulting in 11K loss, going down to 876.43 cents per share. February through May, Tesla stock resulted in a growth of $29, 3%, even though the CEO made questionable sales.
Stocks we considered investing. Rivian Auto. We considered investing in this company because they had recently come out with a new product and were expecting for it to make many sales for the stock to rise, but at the time of us wanting to buy shares in late January, the stock was at an all-time low of $53.94. And investors recommended not to buy shares of the stock due to its big fall and not recovering anytime soon. NVIDIA Corporation. We considered investing in this company because it also came out with a new product that did not make much sales due to shortages in the product. Investors recommended not to buy it because of slow recovery.
This is our overview and portfolio showing our entire stock project and our holdings, where we had spent about 81% of our money buying stocks, and then the rest on we're just keeping it and selling to make it back. We went into the project with a mindset that we wanted to buy and sell fast, and we didn't want to wait for the long term. So if we did it again or in the future when we actually buy stocks and whatnot, we should wait more for the long term because we would make more money like that. We monitored all the results and how the project went, so we would like have inferences and knowledge on the future and in the real world. In the end, we lost some money, but we learned a lot. And the rubric like suggests that we should put a grade, so I think we would put around a C because we didn't make too much money, but we learned a lot during the project. And in the end, we know what we're talking about now. Yeah.
Real quick, so the AMD, I see like in March it really plummeted. What caused that plummet? Do you guys remember?
I think it was because they were also coming out with new products and like other stuff, and again like COVID and the war also slowed down like a bunch of like there was a lot of shortages on like multiple products because of the war.
Okay. All right. Let's see here. So you guys had a concept of selling or buying low and selling high. Is that, so you guys were extremely aggressive.
Yeah.
And I actually like that. I like that. It's not, if it wasn't if it was real money, you'd probably be a little more cautious. But since it was just some digital money, hey, go and see what you can do. And I would actually say that the concept that you said of you lost, but you learned, right? And that's what, essentially, that's what life is about, okay? Every person, right, and this is the concept, every person's in the Hall of Fame, ladies, okay? Every person that's in the Hall of Fame in any sport was a beginner, right? Every person that has memorized the Quran started out with a Fatiha, right? It's difficult, but you learn, okay? But you learn. And that's what my sincere hope is, that you guys take the information that you learned here in this fictitious game and realize that you can make these power moves as well as adults, and set yourself up with a pretty good financial future, okay? That's really good, really good, really good. I know you guys mentioned Tesla. In your discussion as a group, what are some of the points that because Tesla and Elon Musk, he's been at the forefront of the media for the last, I don't know how long, but over this game, the period of this game, he's been making some very, controversial moves and statements, so how did the CEO of Tesla, how did that affect your decisions and your stock?
We went in with Tesla thinking that even though Elon Musk may do some questionable decisions, it would still make money. But whenever we saw him do something like how he bought Twitter or his announcements, we would sell like around when it happened. So when it started going down more, we would not lose our money. and we would buy when it started going back up when people kind of forgot and moved on.
Okay, so you guys were of those people that when he made a questionable decision that would create, I think it's an 11 or 12% drop. So you guys were of those that made that drop. Okay, all right. And so we see how just one decision of the CEO affects, right, that stock instantaneously. And then another thing is day trading, right? So you guys, if you're interested, you know, day trading is one of the things that you are, this is essentially what you guys are doing. When you said you're not going to go for the long haul, you guys are going to try to take whatever the hottest stocks are right now. You're going to try to buy that if it gets an increase, but as soon as you saw, from what I'm seeing, as soon as you guys saw that it was losing, we're going to pull out. Okay. And essentially you see that through a lot of day traders, you know, that and people have amassed great amount of wealth day trading, you know, but also it's very time consuming. It's very difficult to be a day trader and work a job, you know, because you can't watch the stock 24/7, right? And I know, like my sister, she actually was able day trading. She gained about $40,000 to $50,000 and put enough for a down payment for the house that they live in right now, day trading, you know. But she's a homemaker and she can watch those stocks like that, you know. So you guys see that it can be very beneficial, you know. So you guys you played the stock market, okay? And I'll say that was a good job. All right, good job, guys. All right, guys. We only have 5 minutes, so the next two goes tomorrow. I'm gonna look at it. Yes. Well, how many periods do you guys have tomorrow? One, yes, so more than likely 5, 6, and 7 will go on Friday. Okay. Okay.